Hey guys, welcome to the Uncanny Academy of X-Men. I'm sorry I didn't get this episode out last week. Stuff just happened and it was just really, really busy. So anyway, I just figured I'd just put up a quick, like 5 to 10 minute episode. As I mentioned on social media at Comics League at Comics League 2021 on Instagram. By the way, like, comment, subscribe for other great X-Men content. And we have a pretty awesome episode coming out tomorrow. I'm really excited. Like on UTC this week. So anyway, so when thinking about what X-Men story I would want to like do my own version of or create, I did a lot of thinking. Like, what's one of the best stories that I know that I love so much. So I'm actually going to show you. So I did a lot of searching through my comic collection. I found we're going to do an X-Men version of Injustice: Gods Among Us. So, in terms of Gods Among Us, what I thought that this would be fun to do. Okay, so here's the way the story goes. So this is basically an Injustice scenario, but in the X-Men universe. So anyway, the way it works is that this is going to start during the this story starts in the Hickman era, like relatively, I would say, about in the first volume of X-Force. So it's in the beginning of Hickman era. Those of you that don't know is that the government, not really the government, a anti-mutant group launched a special ops attack against Krakoa and killed Professor X. Now, my version of the story is that all happens, and then this gets the X-Men against mutants. No, this splits the X-Men community down in half, where Storm is going to be the side that's like, you know what, Professor X wouldn't want us to execute retribution on mankind. So Storm would be the Batman in this analogy. And then who would be on the Superman side, I would imagine, would probably be Scott Summers, because he's used to like making those morally ambiguous choices, hence AVX. So on the go to war with the mutant side, we have Scott and Emma Frost. I would imagine Wolverine. And then I would imagine, is Nightcrawler? Yeah, Nightcrawler's alive. So I'm gonna go with Nightcrawler. Basically, anyone that's been like chastised by humanity. Definitely Emma Frost, because she's been with Scott forever. I would definitely go with Magneto, because Magneto hates humanity anyway. And Apocalypse. Those would be like the main people that are on the attack human side. Now, on the pro-human side, it would be characters like Storm, Jean Grey. I do that because then it leads to good conflict between Scott and Jean. And you have like Colossus. Then you have Kitty Pryde, particularly Kitty Pryde, because that'll be good conflict with Emma Frost. Because remember, at this point, she's a member of the Marauders, which are this pirate group that basically smuggles in the Krakoan drugs. So it starts it's basically like Schism, but a more like modern version of X-Men Schism. And in this storyline, it's an Elseworld storyline, so characters actually die. We're going by Injustice rules where characters would actually die. And then it leads to an acceleration of the Sentinel program, because everyone's like because let me put it this way. We've all seen how mankind is very suspicious of mutants when they're united. Now imagine if there's a civil war going on in the mutants right now. You can imagine how like mankind and all these groups would really like not be okay with that. So the government fully funds the Sentinel program. In fact, puts Tony Stark in charge of developing and upgrading the Sentinels. Now, why would Tony Stark do this? Because once again, everyone's scared now that there's a big battle between the mutants. And at this point, the mutants have declared, we're just going to do what we want. We're not going to deal with you guys anymore. So anyway, that's how I could see this happening. That's where the Avengers fit in, because they would be fighting both teams of X-Men or trying to mediate a settlement between the two sides. That's the way I could see it. Now, there'll be many different like battles, many different concepts brought in throughout the storyline, kind of like how Injustice, the different years brought in different things. Like year 4 was the Greek gods. I love that, because I've always felt like we needed more storylines where the Justice League goes to war with the Greek gods. But anyway, in this one, we could have Asgard. Well, actually, there wouldn't be a reason for Asgard to show up, but we could see like Storm going to Wakanda for aid, but T'Challa not giving her aid, or maybe she does. I mean, he does. So then we would have like maybe Captain America. Yeah, Captain America. Here's the way we would. So Cap is still on the side of the Avengers, but he's warning Tony when Tony's like putting on the armor to go talk to the X-Men and possibly go to war. He tells Tony, listen, dude, we all know what happened at the last Civil War. I just want to make sure that you're not going to like overreact, because we all know what happened in Civil War. Tony Stark making like a clone of Thor that went haywire and killed Goliath. It's like, so, and outing Peter Parker's secret identity, mind controlling supervillains. But basically, he's telling Tony Stark, listen, dude, I'm with you on this. I'm not going to like, we're united on this front. I agree. It's a problem, but let's make sure we don't cross a line. And then this would show great character growth for Iron Man, because Iron Man says, yeah, I 100% agree with you, dude. You can trust me. This is showing Tony Stark trying to like reverse because since Civil War, he's had this image of like kind of an a-hole, if you will. He's like this character that like, I mean, and Robert Downey Jr. kind of went along this character arc. He started off as this like brash, arrogant character that felt he was the best at everything. Then he went through an arc and decided like, I need people and I'm not the best at everything. I need to not alienate all my allies. And for those of you that have been with the show since the beginning, the Under Two Capes show, the first couple of episodes I did the show, very beginning, were like on the Trinity of DC and Marvel. The Trinity for Marvel I picked were Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. I did Iron Man and also Captain America to a degree. When I talked about Secret Empire, I talked about how like the problem that Tony Stark ran into. So at this point in the story, I'm going to set this up for you, and then I'm going to get back to X-Men Justice, because I'm just going to get into how the story ends. So the way, and so what Iron Man ran into, the problem is that he's alienated all of his allies, because the idea was, so there was this, so the Cosmic Cube, it's the Tesseract from the MCU, but it was called the Cosmic Cube in the comics. It was split into multiple fragments. The idea of both sides, where for Iron Man's side, it was if we put all the shards back together, we can turn Steve back to normal and not have him be a Hydra agent. With evil Steve-vil, if you will, if we turn him, if we collect all the fragments, we can like rewrite reality to make it so the Nazis won World War II and then we're all good. So that was so what it led to was that both sides going to like all over the world, all over to different corners of the Marvel universe, trying to get these fragments. And everyone was like with Tony Stark, no, dude, I'm not helping you. I'm definitely not helping you. And the only reason why Hank Pym gave the shard to Tony is because Tony called him Hank. And remember also, I talked about this in the Civil War episode, when Tony goes to Emma Frost to recruit the X-Men, or at least keep them neutral for the Civil War. He goes, well, what about like, I'm all of these measures, I'm just reacting to like this big tragedy. And Emma Frost goes, where was the rigmarole when Genosha was destroyed? And even Scott Summers in AVX is like, no one cares when the mutants are wiped out. We get like genocided practically weekly, and no one throws a tantrum. No one, it doesn't start a big argument. It doesn't lead to any change. So what's going on, guys? So that's basically my point. It would lead to, so going back to what I was saying with X-Men Injustice, I would call it X-Men Mutants Among Us, by the way. That's my thing. Thank you. This would lead to, let me think. This would lead to Iron Man saying, I'm gonna do things your way, Cap. And then so the war happens. We get like a nice, I think it would be like the size of the regular Injustice. We get volumes of wars. We can bring in Mephisto. We can bring in like the Alpha Flight. We can bring in lots of different characters. The way this would end, not the Phoenix, not anything like that, is that Black Widow or some type of covert operative would reveal that it was a splinter group of humans. It wasn't like all of mankind. You don't have to go to war with everyone. Or the way it would work is that, so remember, Professor X is dead at this point. Actually, this is a better way to do this. So where would happen is, it would lead to like this confrontation, like in Civil War, where you have Cap side on one side and Iron Man side on one side, and they're all like facing off. And then Tony Stark goes to, I mean, not Tony Stark, Storm goes to Cyclops. Listen, dude, I know you want to get payback for Professor X. Trust me, I feel it. But this was not his vision. Us going to war with humans is not going to work. And then Scott Summers says, okay, wait a second, but his vision was wrong then, because they're never going to respect us. And then he said, if you never had hope that humans are going to respect us and like not want to kill us, why did you become an X-Men? And it just leaves silent. And then if you never had hope, why do you still wear your X-Men uniform? And that's a key plot point. Cyclops is wearing his X-Men uniform the entire Civil War. Everyone stays in their costumes. He doesn't change like Superman did in Injustice. That's the key point, because it's showing that deep down, Scott didn't realize it. He realizes that, you know what? Yeah, they're right. This isn't what Professor X wanted. And then the way it would end, and since there's an Elseworld book, I can do that. They place Scott Summers' collaborators and himself in Krakoa, like what they did with Sabretooth. And then the new Quietus Council is established, which has more like tame mutants on it, on its membership. Anyway, that's my version of X-Men Injustice. In other words, if they did an X-Men Injustice storyline, this is how I would want it to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this this UAX episode. We got lots of great content. I'm getting back into the groove. This weekend we'll have a little surprise for you guys for Under Two Capes. It's an episode that I've been trying to set up for a while, and I'm really excited for it, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. Anyway, guys, I will see you at the next one, and remember, class out of session. To me, my X-Men.